Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 12 of Get Real with Rajiv. We're in a different setting today and Pawan's going to play the voice of your questions from behind the camera. So Pawan, shoot the first question that we have today.
The first question is from Digital Prani and he asks how to not get into the rut of the glamour side of entrepreneurship and focus on scaling your present business.
Well, it's very simple. By knowing that you've gotten into the entrepreneurship because of the glamour quotient, you stop playing for the glamour. Well, entrepreneurs that play for glamour never become successful. And unfortunately, nowadays, that's becoming the most common factor of why most people are attracted to entrepreneurship. People think it's cool to be an entrepreneur. It's almost become like a fashion show where everybody wants to walk the ramp of entrepreneurship and act like a supermodel. Well, the reality is this. Entrepreneurship is about creating value. It's not about you, it's about creating value for your customers, for your team members, for your environment. So if you don't focus on that, then soon you will be out of business and this coolness of being an entrepreneur will no longer be cool. And I want you to know this, not everybody has the right intent or the right reason for becoming an entrepreneur. Most people get into entrepreneurship because they think it's a glamour quotient. For such people, I have a warning. You will not last long. And please understand this, it's not necessary to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody has to become an entrepreneur. It's a game of clarity. If you want monthly income, then get a job. If you want to create wealth, then be an entrepreneur. But the key is this, most entrepreneurs are in entrepreneurship, nor are they creating wealth, nor do they have consistent income. They're just entrepreneurs by ego. That's a dangerous situation. So focus on the right elements of building a business, which is building your team, building your systems, building your strategies, building the right product, targeting the right customer. When you focus on this, when you put your head down and get to work, that's when you'll focus and build a successful business. Don't get into this because you think it is cool. That will be the most uncool thing you would have done. So with that, Pawan, what do we have as a second question?
The next question is from A. Pradeep Kumar. He asks, whenever action-based trainings are delivered, also trainers are committed for transforming skills or habits. People take time or fail in implementing on the takeaway. So what is your actionable steps to guide them on serious actions for organization growth?
So when it looks at training and coaching, there are three elements I think that require transformation in any individual who's undergoing training and coaching. The first element is the skills, which is their capabilities to do a particular job. The second element is their knowledge, which is their information quotient to be able to do a job well. And the third element is their attitude, which is their behavior, mindset, habits, all of that comes under attitude. Now here's what I believe. Training as a methodology is great for imparting information and great for imparting skills to people. For a mindset change, training can be a trigger point, can give them a language. But for lasting meaningful change, my belief is that coaching is required. You know, training is good for information, coaching is phenomenal for transformation because you need someone to handhold you in the real world to cause that lasting meaningful change. Most trainings fail because there's no actionable process and no handholding for that lasting meaningful change. So my tip would be, firstly, if you're restricted and you can only deliver a training, then have a list of actionables for participants and have some kind of a follow-up system or an evaluation system to handhold participants. Ideal thing to do is always tie trainings with coaching. And a lot of organizations don't have that kind of perspective or that level of importance to trainings or that level of importance to people transformation. Therefore, they just look at doing training events as a checklist on their calendar, which is an approach I don't resonate with. So I would say training with coaching any day, the most powerful combination. If not, you need to have specific actionables that people can do or people can take after your training programs, and you need to have some kind of a casual follow-up mechanism. Could be a WhatsApp group as well, just to keep the conversation alive with people. Those would be my 2 cents, Pradeep. I hope that adds value. Let's look at the third question. What's the third question we have, Pawan?
This one is on Instagram. In the modern business era, most of the businesses are bringing in investors for funds. Is it okay to run a business over debt, which is usually a slow process since we don't get enough funds? If we are thinking of bringing in an investor, on what basis should we take this decision on?
Well, who's asked that question? What's his name?
Darshan.
Darshit.
Darshan.
Darsha, phenomenal question. And I'm going to answer that in a couple of parts. The first part is this. I completely do not align to this thought process where when a company is being funded, that is being glorified by the media. Funding is not a sign of success, and people don't seem to get that. Now, because the media is glorifying a venture being funded, that's become like the next goal for every entrepreneur. Till you get funded, you don't see yourself as successful. I believe in sustainable value creation. I believe in building businesses in a manner where the business is self-sustained, which means it's showing profit on paper, on the sole capability of the entrepreneur and their team, and all the merit of their products. I am not a big fan of this funding bubble that is there, because 1 in 1 lakh such businesses actually cross the finish line. The rest of them just finish the investments of the investor, and it does not become an investment, it becomes an investment. So this entire bubble that has been created, and this entire belief that has been created that funding is a milestone of success, I completely disagree to that process. You need to know when you require funding and for what you require funding. And I believe the second question is more important to answer. What do you require funding for? How will you use that money, and how do you have legitimate proof to show that the use of that money will give you returns? Because a lot of people just create business plan presentations or pitch decks where they have an ask to an investor about the money that they want, with the notion that we'll invest in technology, we'll invest in people, we'll invest in marketing and acquire customers, without even testing whether by actually investing will the desired results come or not. So you need funding only after you have a proven model of success, that investment, when invested in that particular technology, in marketing or in those people, actually gives you the returns. That's when you are ready for funding. And you also need to know, what does funding bring with it? If you bring an investor on board who trusts you with their money, please know they will have a say in the business, which means they may even intrude or end up controlling the business. So you got to be prepared of both the pros and cons of funding. I believe in value creation. When you create value, when you build a profitable business and you have the visibility of a scalable business model, then the money comes automatically. If you are a fan of speed, then be willing to give away something in return for that funding. But if you're a fan of strength and autonomy, then build it yourself. There's no hurry to get anywhere, my friends. This entire notion that it's the first mover's advantage and all of that, I think we've seen that bubble burst. The number of people who've lost money in terms of number of people who've actually gained money, well, the odds are very, very clear. So it all depends on the quality of business, the nature of business, the nature of business model, the need for funding, and the utilization of the funds and the returns you can expect. All of these factors have to be taken care of while you go seek funding. Otherwise, focus on the value. As an entrepreneur, what's dangerous nowadays is entrepreneurs are creating business plans with an end goal to seek funding. That's not the way business is supposed to be done. I hope that gives you a perspective. With that, let's go to the fourth and final question. Pawan, who's the fourth and final question, and what is it?
The final question is from Priyatam Verma. He says, what is the best way to find my ideal customer needs and how to reach them?
Well, two things, Priyatam. Before you identify your ideal customer's needs, you need to identify who's your ideal customer. And I believe that there are 4 types of customers for any business. The first type are called amazing customers, and these are amazing because your effort to acquire such a customer is not that high, because they are open-minded, they value your products and services, they have the money to invest in your products and services, so their effort is not high and the returns is high, which means they either buy large quantities or they do repeat purchases or they give you good profit margins in the way they buy. So these are called amazing customers, and you got to identify such customers who are low effort and high return for you. The second type are called breadwinning customers, who are high effort in terms of acquiring them, and they are high returns as well. Both amazing and breadwinning are ideal customers to go after. The third type are called convenience customers. These are customers which are low effort to acquire them and they give you low returns, which means you don't have to put too much effort in getting such customers. At the same time, when you get such customers, they don't give you great returns, they don't give you great margins or great billing value. So they're low effort, low return. If they come and buy by themselves, it's fine. I call such customers convenience customers because they buy based on their convenience. The fourth type of customers are called dangerous customers. Now these are the ones you have to run away from. These are the customers you have to reject. They don't reject you, you got to reject them. These are the people you say no to and say, I don't want to work with you. Because dangerous customers are high effort and low return. So for every business, you got to evaluate for yourself, who are my amazing and breadwinning customers, who are my convenience customers, and who are my dangerous customers. And you got to keep the dangerous away. It's almost like you don't allow them into your business. Okay, the convenience, you're okay if they come and buy. Focus your marketing and sales efforts on your amazing and breadwinning customers. Now, how do you identify their needs? You got to look for three things when you work with amazing and breadwinning customers. Through conversations, you got to figure out what are their needs, what are their problems, and what are their desires. These are three elements you got to break down. Why do they want your product or service? What's that basic fundamental need that they are trying to fulfill? Both extrinsic as well as intrinsic. Intrinsic are more motivational, psychological needs. Extrinsic are more product and feature or technology based needs of the person. So you got to identify their extrinsic and intrinsic needs. You got to identify their extrinsic and intrinsic problems. What are their pain areas that your product or service solves? So you got to ask them this through questions, through conversations, through networking. That would be the most ideal way. Yes, you can deploy surveys, but how many of your customers actually genuinely fill up a survey form online? Well, if you have a target audience that's pretty easy to access online, and they are pretty okay with this behavior of filling survey forms, then you could use that way. But otherwise, traditional conversations, meetings, appointments, interviews, these are the best way of identifying the needs, problems, and desires of your customer. But remember the rule: eliminate the dangerous, keep it open for the convenience. If they buy, great. Focus on amazing and breadwinning. That's how you will be able to create a balanced customer ecosystem for yourself and work with people who value your work. So with that, I come to the end of episode number 12 of Get Real with Rajiv. We've answered 4 questions today, and we're going to pick a winner out of these 4 questions who will win a copy of my book, Lead or Bleed. So Pawan, indicate for me from behind the camera who wins the best question. Okay, I'm going to disagree to Pawan today, and I'm going to say the winner of question number 4 will win the best question of the week. So the question number 4 was asked by Priyatam. So you're going to get a copy of my book, Lead or Bleed. I hope you enjoy the read. And for those of you who are enjoying these episodes, ask us a lot of questions. Drop in your questions in the comments below, or inbox me your questions. Make sure your questions are questions that other entrepreneurs will also gain value from. With that, we look forward to seeing you, and share this with a hashtag #GetReal, because we want to make sure that more entrepreneurs get access to these conversations and questions and derive massive value. Thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.